What's up, everybody? And welcome back in to some more Sarah Boone letter writing. We've discussed it a couple times in this case already. We've seen some of what she's going through. And regardless of what anybody thinks about Sarah Boone, and it's not just allegations because we've seen video and heard her own voice and statements describe what happened. So I think it's a little better context than just some circumstantial evidence or not knowing exactly what's coming. But regardless of what anybody thinks or feels about Sarah Boone and what she's done, as we read through these letters, I think we have all collectively agreed this is not how it's supposed to be. This is not how the criminal justice system is supposed to work. And there's a new 7-page letter that's going to give us some more context. And we're going to see if we still feel the same way. Okay. So, a couple other things before we get to the letter, real quick, because I want you all to always have a chance to win merch. And we are doing, as I discussed a couple weeks ago, I think, if we can get to 20,000 followers on Instagram at Tragos Law right here, we are going to do some giveaways. And we have decided to pick 3 followers on Instagram. So you have to go follow us on Instagram as well. Even if you subscribe on YouTube, because this is more of an Instagram milestone, I guess. We are going to give away a new hat, a new shirt, and a new cup or mug from the new merch website. So you just have to be a follower on Instagram and like the post on Instagram about this. And we are going to pick somebody to give away some merch. And then tomorrow, if you want to join the membership crew, we have our members only live. If the video gets done, John is still in the process of editing the video. I am super excited to see it. I can't wait. It's supposed to be done today. It's not done yet, but he assures me it will be done in time for tomorrow. So I'm really excited to watch that with all of you. We'll get some laughs for sure and maybe see a little bit of a different side of me. Hopefully you don't hold it against me. All right, let's get to Sarah Boone's letter. Hit that like button on this video if you haven't already. And I think we should subscribe to this page. What do you guys think? All right. Hopefully you can see it. It's not the best version of it. I think it's from Reddit or Court TV or something. All right. This was on May 15th, so about 9 days ago. Judge Wooten, Attorney Bankowitz, whole wide world. And that's important because there are things in this letter that I can confidently say Sarah Boone is paying attention to the media, and not just the media on her case. I think, and we'll get to why, that she is also paying very close attention to Brian Kohberger's case and other high-profile cases. All right, perspective. Merriam-Webster's dictionary. I wonder how many people are going to actually look up the definition to see if it's the same. I wonder also how many website hits the word perspective will get. That lets you know she knows people are paying attention to her case. She knows people are talking about her case. Definition number 1, the science of painting or drawing so that objects objects represented have apparent depth and distance. 2, the aspect in which a subject or its parts are mentally viewed. A view of things as objects or events in their true relationship or relative importance. Please review so everyone has a clearer, better understanding of my continued concerns, hindrances, questions, and frustrations with the quote-unquote justice system and the solid, absolute remissness of my case and the due process of I am and have been waiting very patiently and maintaining what I can since no one else has or will, it seems, and I feel at this point. 6 attorneys later, 39 months, almost 3.5 years, which I will make, and not by choice. I need to make all aware of my immense struggle with the extreme mismanagement of my case to date. Let's look at the bigger picture or perspective to get a better view of what I've had more than enough time to see and realize. I'm hoping by doing so, eyes can finally be opened and very overdue, longed for progress and finalization can be had. The growing amass of, first, I want you to just pay attention. If she didn't address this to the whole wide world, I would say the context of how she's writing and what she's writing, she absolutely wants the world to read this. But she did, in fact, let us all know from the jump, she is writing this to the whole wide world. Manipulation, slander, and advantageous gain must stop. So what everybody's talking about the fact that she did it and already condemning her and convicting her, it must stop. My truth needs to be heard, and it is my right. Sorry. Where am I? And it is my right. Do not give me rights expecting me not to fully utilize them. So that there are some threats in this letter. And she says things like, you better not give me these rights and expect me not to utilize them. It's like, tone it down a little, as the judge said in Koberger, because we're with you on certain things, Sarah. We want you to have a competent lawyer. We want you to have a fair trial. And if you're not guilty and you didn't do this stuff, fine. If you're a battered spouse and that's how the jury sees it, fine. But if you get convicted, we don't want to have any appellate issues. But she does let it go a little bit, let it fly, as they say. So don't give me rights and not expect me to utilize them. I voted for the president and governor while here in jail. Congratulations. And stop violating what I've been trying to utilize or lessen the value of my capabilities and opportunities. Don't come for her capabilities and opportunities. I am not apologetic in any way for being an observant, hardworking, above average, non-stereotypical inmate. Hardworking, non-stereotypical, above average, I would have gone with excellent probably, inmate. Very strange flex, right? It's a weird flex to talk about how you're voting for president while in prison and don't give you rights and expect you not to use them. These are the kind of weird things that doesn't make you a likable defendant and a likable witness potentially on the stand, which I bet she's going to testify. And that's where I think if I was her lawyer, which she's not getting any counsel, would be like, tone that down. We all agree you deserve effective assistance of counsel. We all agree with that, I hope. I can only imagine, sadly, how others, not as outspoken as myself, have been and are being mistreated, overlooked, and dehumanized. Get it together. She's not wrong about that. People are mistreated in prison all the time. Not everybody, but some people are. At what point Judge Wooten, here we go. Now she is directing her comments at the judge, and here is where I think she makes some missteps. At what point do you evaluate and intercede in a case to make sure there is proper advancement, regular communication between the attorney and client, ethical treatment of the client is being upheld, timeframes are being met, etc.? Clearly, you know of and have known of the prolongation of my difficulties from your comments regarding my letters, but with no intervention from you to change anything for a better, less problematic process. You've told me in the past, when I've tried to voice my legitimate concerns, that you in the courtroom 5 times total in 3.5 years, and in my letters to save it for my next attorney if told anything at all. Okay, so we're going to pause there. This judge has tried to do some stuff to help her. He has ordered her attorney to meet with her, ordered her attorney to talk to her, granted her motions to continue when her attorney has told the court that they need that to prepare her case. So he has done certain things. He can't come in and say, Ms. Boone, did your attorney make his appointment today? Did your attorney make his appointment last week? He can't quite go that far. But I do think that he could potentially step in and say, you have to meet with her. But there are already rules that the lawyers are supposed to be under, the professional responsibility rules, that he should be meeting with her and talking with her. And if he's not, that should be a problem. Here we go. Do tell, Your Honor, which attorney. I'm on my 6th, whom I've not seen in person for over another 3-month period. And While that can happen and not seeing your attorney is different than not talking to them, when you're preparing for trial and you've already continued the trial date multiple times saying you need to work on certain defenses, to not meet with your client for 3 months is piss poor effort, in my opinion, by the attorney. And I don't like to speak poorly of attorneys. I really don't. And I know some people that know Frank Bankowitz, say he's a good guy. This is a miss. This is not how you should treat your clients, regardless of what you think of them. Frank Bankowitz has been appointed as my attorney by the court to represent me in my case, and has been for 10 months and counting. Total approximate hours of representation, 7,200. Here's where she shows off her math. Total times attorney met with client, 6. Phone numbers given to client, 2. Phone calls answered, 0. Outside sources calling attorney, how many times? 3. Phone calls, emails, voicemails answered by attorney, 0. Letters client sent to attorney to try to communicate, 7. Letters defendant and client sent to the judge to try to communicate, and the whole wide world now, 5. 15-minute video visits between attorney and client, 3. That's a joke. 3 15-minute visits in 10 months? Come on. It's got to be better than that. And I got to be honest, she is documenting her ineffective assistance of counsel claim. The judge is going to know that. The judge is not going to like that. And the judge is going to put some pressure on the attorney to make sure that is not the case. This is not how it's supposed to be. I cannot say that enough. And again, I'll roll my eyes just like all of you will at some of the stuff Sarah Boone says about how brilliant she is and showing off her math skills and how she voted in prison. Okay, we can all roll our eyes at that, but she still deserves a lawyer to at least present a case for her, especially when she adamantly believes this is, a battered spouse syndrome case. Now, is she going to win? We'll see. All right, attended court dates scheduled, 2. And 1, so the lawyers only showed up at 2 court dates, and one of them was his attempt to withdraw an allowance to finally be included on my pretrial conference, which was the same information carried over from all the others. Now what? So she didn't get any new information. Legitimate complaint by a client. My clients would have the same complaint if this happened to them. Even in non-criminal cases, in civil cases, they would be just as pissed. Why don't you call me? Why don't you talk to me? Tell me what's going on. If I have a court hearing and my client wants to be there, they're always there. Especially nowadays, you can do it by Zoom. Why are you allowing/enabling my constitutional rights to be continuously violated? History lesson for everyone. First Amendment right, freedom of speech. Fourth Amendment, search and seizure. I'm probably going to screw these up and embarrass myself. Fifth Amendment, right to remain silent. Sixth Amendment, fair trial, counsel. Eighth Amendment, and 14th Amendment, that's like unreasonable. One of those is unreasonable bond. I can't remember. Whatever. We can always look those up. Lawyers are able to look those up. 3, what am I being judged for? My legitimate letters I write. Sorry, why am I being judged for my legitimate letters I write in order to know the status of my case or attorney? And how much longer before something substantial occurs in the progress of 3.3 years later, other than, and here we go. Everybody wake up. I know when I start reading, people start to fall asleep. This is important. Now is where we're getting to some of the very interesting things that she's going to argue. Other than the inappropriate prejudgments being made due to the excessive amount of my case information online, bigger and meaner fabrications of my case-sensitive details, I have not seen an even greater mind-numbing one-sided ignorance, okay? So there's some things she hasn't seen. But there's also some video on the internet, some of which we've seen here, from her cell phone and from her police interviews. And while she may not have seen those things, she lived them. And while some discussions about those videos might be one-sided, they're listening to her speak and her actions. So that's tough. If I didn't write my letters, would you or anyone be aware of all my rightful concerns? Probably not, because her lawyer's not going to voice them. still and ongoing, is a perpetual question mark over a defendant's head the norm during a case due to inactivity, no communication, no help or intervention, or answers being given by anyone in the, again, justice system? Honestly, what has been done about or with any of my letters other than being scanned, uploaded incorrectly? I made sure to correct so everyone is up to speed on my case status. Unfortunately, it is all I have to report on at this time. And here we go. Here's another swing and a miss to me at the judge, in my opinion. Why are you allowing numerous case safety and protection elements to be breached, violated, and manipulated? I'd be interested to see what she thinks has been breached, violated, and manipulated. And here we go. Here's my insight as to why I think she's watching Koberger. Why has a gag order never been implemented? So she is asking, gag orders in all these other cases. Why no gag order in this case? My case has turned into an unnecessary witch hunt from the innumerable violations of my case details being leaked and racketeered illegally. Illegally. I would like to know what's illegal about, what anybody's doing. I'd be interested. I would talk about it. So it's being discussed illegally in exchange for website hits, viewer ratings, etc., in exchange for money. Here we go. What is your cut, Your Honor? What is your cut, Your Honor? She says. When you're a criminal defendant, judges do their absolute best to remain unbiased. Sometimes, depending on how heinous the crimes are, it's hard for them. Sometimes how they feel about the way that you act, or maybe some of the statements you make, or the fact that they think you're lying on the stand, which a lot of times we'll have a body cam footage or a recording of a defendant. Defendant will say something exactly the opposite on the stand. Judges don't like that. They don't like people to lie in their courtroom, to commit perjury. That's fair. But judges, for the most part, do a very, very, very admirable job with patience and understanding and treating people with respect, even people that don't deserve it. But I will tell you that if this judge was ever going to stick his neck out for Sarah Boone and do her a solid and give her the benefit of the doubt, those chances reduce greatly when you accuse him of profiting off of your cases, accuse the judge of violating your rights for financial gain, and making decisions on gag orders and leaks and news outlets covering a case to line his pockets. This is a bigger deal than you might think. Actually, some of you do think it's a pretty big deal, which you'd be right. This is the judge that is going to make the evidentiary decisions in her case, potentially the sentencing decision in her case. I mean, he is going to make the sentencing decision. I mean, if she gets convicted. So why do this? Do you think, and here's the, sometimes this happens to me. A client, a person on YouTube will come in and try to trash me for some reason, thinking that that's going to motivate me to help them. If I talk about a case with a potential client and I say, I'm sorry, I don't think you have a case, or I don't think this is viable, or I don't think we can prove it, but ask another lawyer. And they just try to tear into you, or tear into me, I should say. You suck. You say you want to help people. You don't want to help people. You just want to get rich. All you care about is money. Just because it's a hard case, you don't want it. You only want easy cases. I don't treat them disrespectfully. I don't say anything mean to them. I try to be as understanding as possible because I realize people go through very, very difficult things in their life. And that's usually when they call me. They don't call me when it's something good. And I just say, I'm sorry. That doesn't change my mind. Does anybody think, or if you're spoken like that in your case, I mean, in your job, if somebody speaks to you like that, does that make you want to say, you know what, on second thought, even though I think it's a frivolous claim, I think I'm going to file it now? Because you said that, I'm going to work hard for you now. That's not to say about disagreements or clients getting upset. That happens all the time. And nothing changes about our relationship because I understand how slow the process is. There are frustrating parts of it. Nothing like that. I'm talking about somebody like Sarah Boone who is asking for help and thinks this person is not helping them, to say that they are illegally profiting off of your rights being taken away is not going to make this judge very happy. But we'll keep reading. What's your cut, Your Honor? What is it? You choose who knows what. This is her talking to the judge. Where and how in your courtroom. When did court minutes become live? Are you the one who authorizes the upload to the internet? It's all about how much rather than how did it happen, no matter the destruction caused in the meantime, and is irreparable. Hey, another word that was used in a Koberger motion. It's not to say she doesn't know that word. It's not even about the suitcase anymore. I think it is to us, and it will be to the jury. My case is now global, a global event with the video receiving over 3 million hits, depending on the website. It's making me realize that's over 3 million less unprejudiced, unbiased, non-discriminatory, fair jurors I will have access to on my case. How is that going to work? Now what? Fair question. Fair question. And that's something her lawyer should be asking and talking about. How are we going to get a fair jury in this case? If he thinks we need a gag order, he needs to file a motion. Factoring important private details should not be made ready and available for the world to know about before I, the defendant, does. Correct? Well, I would like to know what the world knows that she doesn't know. I would like to know that. Because if she has the internet, she's watching court TV and things like that, she has what we have. This is wrong, unconstitutional, unfair, and not how justice is supposed to work for anyone. I'm tired of having my motives attributed to me that are unreal, assumed, and inappropriate. This is not legal. This is what a trial is for, correct? At this point, what can even be rightfully suppressed in my case? Again, not using the correct term. Sorry, I had this on for a couple other things today and just getting a little warm in here. Once you ring the bell, it cannot be unrung. It's already been heard and seen. I don't even know where the bell is or who's ringing it. So this leads me to believe, does she think that the video is not going to come in her trial? Does she think inadmissible evidence is being discussed, like that her statements aren't going to come in? Because that's most of what I've seen and what we've talked about. Could be something else, but when do I, the main component in my case, actually get to know, see, hear everything everyone else already has? When am I going to be included also? She should, sorry, I didn't realize it was small. She should be able to see the evidence in this case. Her lawyer should talk about it with her. When is the next status hearing? You stated what happened before my pretrial conference on July 11th. My attorney's 1 year mark. Am I included? What else can I do to ensure that productivity, communication, incorruptibility, appropriation, and intellectualism of my case? It is my right to know so I can begin or continue for true progress of any kind to finally be succeeded. Attorney Frank Bankowitz, where are you? Our last in-person was February 15th, 3 months ago. Unacceptable, in my opinion. When is our next meeting? Remember, please, there are still time-sensitive matters pressing, FYI. In the 10 months of your representation, here are the 6 meeting dates which have occurred. So you can see prospectively the massive time gaps in between while I have been sitting eagerly waiting and wondering. So they saw each other, I guess, July 14th, August 2nd, August 22nd. Nothing in September, October, November, December. once in January, twice in February, nothing in March, April, or May. And yet he's supposed to be prepping for her trial. That's tough. That's just not, regardless of what we think about her and the things she says about the judge that I just think are horrible. And a lot of the problems with, what we've seen her say and do in this case, that's wrong. That's wrong. She should have more discussions with her attorney. All right, before we finish with what she said to her attorney, let's get to some questions. Cheryl, off topic. Did you watch Brooks Koepka hit the hole in one? It was a great to see an underdog shine. What a memory for him. Was it Brooks Koepka? I saw the guy that was playing with, I think Block was his name, the guy playing with Rory McIlroy, and I saw Brooks Koepka win, but I did not see Brooks Koepka's hole in one. I did not see that. But I always like to see a Florida State boy win. Johanna, question. If you know your client is guilty, would you ever advise them to plead not guilty? So I haven't had this come up a ton. My dad would say yes. If the state cannot prove their case, they still plead not guilty. And that's the point of the trial. It is not guilty includes not proven and innocent. Lisa D, but how many times did she refuse to see the lawyer? That's a good question. We have never heard her lawyer mention that, though. I don't think that's what's happening. And I'll just tell you from experience, very rarely do clients in prison not want to meet with their lawyer. It's usually the highlight of their day. Cheswick, hole in one referred to was Michael Block. Hey, look at that. I love when a thing comes together. Jenny, wow, this is not how our system should work. If she's convicted, I believe she has a case already for mistrial due to lack of misrepresentation, right, speedy trial. Not speedy trial because she's waived that, but ineffective assistance of counsel, that's definitely being set up. EJ, what does she think will be the outcome of this? I think she thinks she's going to pressure the judge into putting more pressure on Bankowitz, which may happen, but not because she's saying things like this to the judge. Joe, when and how long will a judge decide enough since she's going through so many lawyers? It's up to the judge's discretion. I personally, now I'd be pissed if she said this about me as a judge, but I personally would put a lot of pressure on Bankowitz to say, you've got to meet with her in person or by Zoom every month from here until the trial. And if the trial gets continued, again, you got to meet with her in May, you got to meet with her in June, you got to meet with her in July. Frankly, I don't know how you prep a trial only meeting with the client 3 times when the trial's coming up. Tori, has that actually happened to you and your colleagues? Has that actually? Oh, yes. The story I told all the time. And I can understand, listen, to a certain point, I can understand people are frustrated if a lawyer won't take their case. But we work contingency for the most part, not on criminal cases, on civil cases. So if I really believe in your case and believe you can win and believe that there's value there worth it to litigate this case for potentially a number of years, obviously I'm in with you. But there are a million reasons why that might not be the case. And we have to, we have staff, we have overhead, we have a ton of people working on it. It's not just my time or a lawyer's time on a case. There's a lot that goes into it, and we have to be selective. We can't take every case. Sometimes that just comes down to it as well. We have a limited capacity based on the lawyers and staff that we have, and we can only pick cases that we truly believe in. But I understand why that's frustrating. I do. But I just don't think insulting the lawyer is a good way to get them to then take your case. I'll just speak for myself. Girl Scout, question. If she's frustrated with her counsel, how else is she supposed to address the frustration? Innocent until proven guilty. I agree. I don't mind that she's writing a letter to the court. I just wouldn't lambast the court and say he's lining his pockets with her videos on YouTube. I think this is the last resort that she has resorted to. Andrew Anna Lori, are her letters admissible? Can they be used to impeach her testimony? They would be admissible because she is writing to the court. They're not attorney-client privilege. So if she did make some admission in here, they could potentially be admissible if it's something relevant to the trial. Melanie, is it appropriate for defendants to write judges? Usually you don't want this to happen, and that's why the judge is telling her save it for your next attorney. But at some point, if you're supposed to go to trial and your lawyer hasn't even talked to you in 3 months, you do anything you can. It's not unusual for inmates to write letters to all sorts of people. Creed, are you going to cover the laundry hearing? Luca finally made the you can be reunited with the dead person argument. I saw that. I like him. I know him. My dad is friends with his bosses and managing partners over at the founding partners of his firm. That was not a great argument, I don't think. And yes, I will be covering it. I don't think I'm going to cover it today because I don't know what the outcome was. I think the hearing might still be going on. So maybe I'll cover it tomorrow along with the members only live, before the members only live. Uh, Carol, lawyer, question. Should the judge recuse themselves now? Shirley staying will set up a retrial. No, no. I don't think the judge is has to conflict out of this. No way. Nicole, I've been trying to bring this to your attention. What happened to the Tristan Bailey videos taken down the same day? So a bunch of people were saying and getting mad about it, as always happens from time to time. Pete recorded the video like 3 or 4 days before it posted. Other stuff happened in the case. And so it was already late by the time we premiered it. So we pulled it down. He maybe will do an update one later. Tori, have you accepted a client when you know their case would be an uphill battle because you believed in the client? Yes, but I believed we could win. I'm not going to take a case that I think that we're going to lose. I really don't. On the civil side with the contingency fee, regardless of how much I love the client. I mean, I've had friends and family members call me about cases, and because I know, right? This is what I do every day. I'll get up, I'll litigate a case, I'll argue about it, I'll show up in court, whatever it may be. It is brutal on the client. And if you think you're going to lose from the jump and they have to go through all that brutality again on whatever happened to them, it's not good for them either. Now, they might not see it that way, but that's how I think. All right, let's get back to what she said to Bankowitz. Oops. All right, here we go. Why aren't you fixing either of the 2 phone numbers you gave me upon your appointment back in July? Every time I asked you about it, it's a different excuse. Much progress can be made in a very expeditious manner if completed. Yeah, like, can I talk to you on the phone? Not unreasonable. Why has it not almost a year later? Why do you keep telling me to call when you know they don't work? As said before, public defenders answer their calls and reply to mail. Why are you unable or unwilling? See the difference it will make. Our agreement made from one of my letters I wrote earlier this year after not hearing from you for a solid 5 months prior was to connect every 2 weeks with or without any significant progress. Seems fair. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's even more than once a month, which I would say is fair. But of course it didn't happen. Why have you not been upholding this agreement even in a 15-minute video visit? Remember, a phone call is another option and not as difficult technology. A working number is needed, just one. What are your anticipated dates of completion for anything already discussed, and will eventually, when you do, actually show up for an in-person scheduled meeting? There are 1,000 little fires needing to be put out. You're holding the fire hose. Please see, from my perspective, underlined, the botched eye-rolling experience I am going through still, and how I believe anyone would act or do if in my slides doing the same. Oh, because her prison sandals. What would you do? Do not fault me in trying to make the best, most successful outcome possible for myself in every aspect in the convoluted predicament I am in and have been over the last 3.3 years. I would rather be called a narcissist, pain in the ass, arrogant, strange, or whatever anyone else is calling me or wants to waste their time and think of. Just don't call me a murderer, which I am not. No one knows me except for the ludicrous insanity that's been made up, mocked, edited, and spewed all over the internet. It's not me. Interesting. I wonder if she thinks that the police interview was somehow edited to make her look bad. Interesting thought. I'm hoping and praying my highly anticipated day will come, whenever that will be. It's God's timing. I continue to wait, smiling. At least everyone will know I'm not sitting around eating bonbons, watching soap operas. Strange flex again. She's queen of the strange flexes. Application is not the product of the lesson. Give me my chance appropriately, correctly, and fairly in court. Unfortunately, my perspective of justice, of our justice system, is incredibly dim and dull. I hope my very overdue blinding light has shone brightly for all to see a glimpse of how it really works. And being in a system, we all have to work together to function in unison. Please help. See the difference I'm trying to be and make. waiting and wondering, keeping it real. Now what? It's so weird. It's like she's writing like a newspaper article. All right, here's to keeping it real, Sarah Boone, over and out. Like that's what that felt like at the end. She's just sitting here smiling, not watching soap operas and eating bonbons. And here, I'm glad people can read this letter to see what I'm really like. I think it's confirming some of what some people say. I think she should just frankly stick to the unfair treatment she's getting from her attorney and ask the court for their help. Got a lot of new members who have joined during today's video. Gail and Joy, Thrifty Mama of 4, Cheswick, Lolly, Pegasus, Daydreamer. Welcome, everybody, and you're just in time because tomorrow we've got a fun one. I can't wait to share it with you. John, she's definitely getting the judge's attention, good or bad. Your thought. Thanks, Guy. I think with her complaints about her lawyer, she's getting the judge's attention in the way that she wants. Making allegations against the judge, I think she's getting his attention negatively. Now, I'm not saying he's biased. I think she would think this of any judge, and I think any judge coming in here would have the same feelings about her if they read this letter. So I don't think this judge is disqualified or anything like that. Elizabeth, question, do we know if she was offered any plea deal? I don't know. DA might want to consider, since this is already looking like an appeal or a retrial. I mean, who's going to explain to her the plea deal and make sure she makes an understanding plea? Becky, if she is found not guilty, can she sue the lawyer for her extra time in prison? Probably not, especially if he's the one that tries the case and gets the not guilty verdict, because he has an argument that, I mean, he's only been her lawyer for 10 months, but that this extra prep time is actually what made it work. I don't know. Tori, what time's the members only live tomorrow? 3 p.m. Eastern. We've been hitting right around that time every day. It's worked out. Nicole, she's getting on my nerves and I'm not even involved. I kind of agree. It's some of her hyperbole and statements that she makes in the letter is kind of annoying, even though I agree with her that I think her rights are being trampled on a bit. All right. So we will wait until July for the pretrial conference to see if this case actually gets to trial. If you want my guess, I would say it's highly unlikely. If her lawyer still isn't talking to her for 3, 4, 5 months leading up to trial, then how is he setting up this battered spouse defense? Is she not meeting with experts? Are they not doing interviews like we saw in the Letitia Stalk case? And that woman, audio and camera are all better, yay. So there's an internet problem at the office, so I literally came home to do this at my house instead of at the office. All right. That's all we've got for today. Sarah Boone update. Hopefully the trial's coming in July. We are going to stick with this case. A lot of people were asking. Maybe tomorrow we will do a Petito update if we get some answers. I don't know if that hearing's still going on. I'll have to check it out. But tomorrow also, if you don't follow and listen to the podcast, sorry, is tomorrow Friday? No, tomorrow's Thursday. Friday, we're going to play the video of our newest associate, JD Patel. He joins me on the podcast to talk about Alec Baldwin and how the prosecutor screwed up that case, because he is fresh out of the prosecutor's office handling serious felonies in the state attorney's office for the last couple of years. So he brings a new perspective. He's going to be joining the channel once in a while. So welcome him in the comments as well, please, on Friday, if you're able to watch that video podcast. Thank you, Azam, for the super sticker on the way out. Until tomorrow, I love you people. Keep me posted on what you want to see. You put the bat signal up for Gabby Petito. I have watched some of the hearing. I will watch the rest. If you have questions about it, I will be checking it out. Please hit that like button before the video ends. Helps me out. And subscribe to our page just because I like growing the community so we can have more people to hang out and talk about this stuff together. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok at Tragos Law is our handle. And don't forget to listen to the Lawyer You Know podcast featuring new episodes every week. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, the lawyer you know.